All right, everybody, it has finally come. It is time. I've seen several YouTubers out there who gave their rundown of Strat-O-Matic, and I figured since I'm one of the ones that play Strat-O-Matic on YouTube the most, or one of the ones, maybe not the most, but certainly up there, I thought it would be time for me to give my 2 cents worth. Strat-O-Matic, the game, the good, bad, and the ugly. Don't have anything to show you except this Strat-O-Matic box. I'm not putting the camera on me. I'm doing this. I've got an outline here, and I'm going to try to follow that. And all of these things could go in any order. I just wrote them down, but I can really pretty much pick any order I would like. Let me preface this by saying this is in no way a rant, and in no way am I degrading any other game out there. This is strictly, I'm not even going to really talk about any other game out there. This is strictly about Strat-O-Matic. A lot of people out there love Strat-O-Matic. Some people out there can't stand Strat-O-Matic. And there's some that are in between, I guess. But I played numerous games, as you've seen on the channel. So I think at least I got a slight bit of credibility to say what I'm going to say. I don't expect everyone to agree with everything I'm saying, or maybe anything I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not here to pick fights. I'm here to just go over and give you my perspective from my point of view. This is all opinion. There's no, there are some facts in here, but I mean, a lot of it is weighted on my opinion, and opinions vary. And so, take all this with a grain of salt. If you don't like what I'm saying, that's fine. If you like what I'm saying, that's fine. If you want to comment on what I'm saying, that's fine. I will listen to any comments that are out there. And like I said, I'm not trying to bash any game or praise any game or anything in between. I'm not trying to appease anyone or irritate anyone. I'm just giving you what I think. All right, so the first I'm breaking them down obviously into good, bad, and the ugly. I'm going to go through all the good first, then the bad, and then the ugly. So we'll start out on positive notes and we'll end on maybe some not so positive notes, but then wrap it up at the end so that we're not totally negative at the end, but we give it a bow to maybe take all three things together and put them in one big package. All right, so like I said, I've got these outlined items, and you will be surprised. And this is not only cards and dice; it's mostly cards and dice, but I will talk about the computer game as well, and I will give some good, bad, and uglies on the computer game. So, but 90% of my focus is going to be on the cards and the dice. All right, so my first point that I want to make, and these first 9, I've got 9 points, and they're going to be all under the category of good. Doesn't mean I'm a Strat-O-Matic fanboy. It just means that these are the things that I like about Strat-O-Matic. I think these are things that set Strat-O-Matic apart from other games and why I have gravitated primarily now to Strat-O-Matic. And like I said, these could be, I wrote these down in a certain order, but they were just as they came to my head. It wasn't like one is more important than the other. They're all equally weighted in my opinion. But we'll start out with the nostalgia factor and the brand factor. To me, Strat-O-Matic is a brand. It's just like if you're in the office and you need a photocopy of something, you might very well say to somebody, hey, can you go Xerox this for me? Well, Xerox is not the only copy or brand in the world, but it's got such a name that it demands that that's the first thing that comes to your head. Same with Band-Aid. There are a lot of adhesive bandages out there, a lot of other companies out there besides Band-Aid. But if you cut your finger and you don't have anything handy and you go to somebody and say, hey, can you give me a Band-Aid? You don't say, hey, can you give me an adhesive bandage? You say, hey, can you give me a Band-Aid? To me, Strat-O-Matic is the same thing. If you talk about to the average Joe on the street or somebody that's not, into the hobby all that much, just a casual baseball fan, and you say, hey, can you name a baseball simulation game? Strat-O-Matic is going to probably be the one that comes up, off the tip of the tongue as a brand, just like Band-Aid and Xerox. When the 1981 strike came along in Major League Baseball, they went to Strat-O-Matic. That's who they went to. And so that's just, to me, it's a nostalgia thing. I started with Strat-O-Matic because it was my first board game that I started with when I got in the hobby back in 2015. And I did not play this as a kid, so I don't have that kind of nostalgia factor, but I do have this nostalgia factor that this was my first board game. And I guess sort of like women, it's your first love. So go back to your first love. I've dated other games, but this is my first love that I come back to. And after dating all the other games, it makes me appreciate this game even more. All right, that's fact, or that not fact. That's opinion number one on my part. The second thing that I think sets this game apart are the player ratings and the research that goes into those player ratings. Strat-O-Matic has been known throughout the baseball world to do the most in-depth research into the player performances to try to make their cards to be as realistic, the most realistic cards in any game simulation out there. They not only look at the statistics, they look at scouting reports, they talk to scouts, they talk to beat writers for the individual teams. They do all sorts of reading and research. They have baseball guys that sit around and mull over all the ratings and all the stats and put everything together and probably, I'm not in the room, so I don't know, but they probably argue back and forth as to who should get what rating and why this person deserves this rating and why this person doesn't deserve that rating. And in the end, they finally come up with a finished product. But it's not like other games that may simply take a set of statistics, throw them into some computerized algorithm they have, and they spit out cards. No, this is detailed research, the thought going into it, and I just think that's what set this game apart, is their player ratings and the research that goes into it. The next thing, and again, these are not in any certain order, but the next thing is that this is the only game out there, the only game, where every player is carded for lefty-righty splits. And lefty-righty splits are a big deal. You ask any manager in Major League Baseball, they manage by the lefty-righty platoons. That's why you see when a left-hander is on the mound, the other opposing manager is going to load his lineup up with right-handed hitters. There's a reason for that, because baseball statistics over the years have proven that the opposite-handed batter will do better against the opposite-handed pitcher. So if your game doesn't have that, I think it's lacking. Some games have it where it's just on the batter, not on the pitcher. Some games have it where most of the players have left-right splits, but the marginal players don't. Well, marginal players get the splits here. So I think it's very important to have lefty-righty splits. Now, if you're one of these people that don't give a crap about lefty-righty splits, Strat-O-Matic has a solution for you with that as well. And that goes right into my next point. 3 ways to play it. If you don't want to deal with lefty-righty splits, if you just want a quick, easy game, Strat-O-Matic Basic is probably the easiest game out there. Very easy. That's how I learned board gaming. That's how I learned this game. It was basic. It's so easy, a child could do it. Very, very easy for the basic. But if you want to up your game, they have advanced, which brings in left to right splits. I'm trying to think, and it brings in the outfielder's arm and things of that nature. But if you want to up your game to the utmost level, then you go to super advanced, and it brings in the ballpark effects, the clutch ratings, different ways to get steals, and different things like that. So you've got 3 options. You play like I say at the end of every video, play the game you want to play the way you want to play it. And here you go. You got 3 options to do so. Another great benefit of this game is the results are on the cards. You don't have to go to a chart. You don't have to add up 3 or 4 numbers, get a separate number, and go to a chart and figure out what happened. It's right there on the card. You roll the dice, look at the dice, look at the card, and it's there. You don't have to search for it. The only time you have to go to a chart is when there's a fielding check. Other than that, you don't have to go to a chart. Or if you want to do a sacrifice bunt or something like that, there's a chart for that. But if you're just having a basic at bat, it's all on the card. So plain and simple, it is all on the card. Now, speaking of the cards, not only is it on the card, but the cards are mathematically weighted. What do I mean by mathematically weighted? Well, player cards, well, probability in general, if you know anything about probability at all, you know it's more probable with 2 D6s to roll a 7 than it is to roll a 2 or a 12. So a lot of games will have a grid for their players, but it's just filled in. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason. They have a 6x6 grid, and you're just as likely to roll a 1-1 as you are a 6-6. So putting the results there don't give any advantage to a better hitter or whatever. It's just whatever you happen to roll. Well, in Strat-O-Matic, if a guy strikes out a lot, he's going to get strikeouts on his number 7 position because that's the one that comes up the most often. And conversely, if he's a good hitter, somebody like a Wade Boggs or Tony Gwynn or somebody like that, Ted Williams, they're going to get base hits on their number 7 position. Same with home runs. If a guy's a good home run hitter, he's going to have home runs on his 7. If he's a weak hitter and he hits a home run once in a while, he'll have it on a 2 or a 12. So that's what I mean by weighted. There are different statistical percentages for each outcome, but the most likely is 7. So if you get a card, if you look at that 6, 7, and 8 row on each of the columns of the cards, that kind of tells you what the guy does most often. And the 2 and a 12 are like the outliers. They'll come up once in a while, but not all that much. Whereas the other games, a 6x6 grid, it's a crapshoot. There's no rhyme or reason to it. You could take the card that that those 6x6 grids have, change the results, mix them around, and you still get the same game. It wouldn't change anything because the likelihood of rolling any of those results is 1 in 36. There's no advantage one way or the other. So that's another reason why I like this game. It's weighted cards. I believe the replay gamer said it pretty well. He said they have personality. You roll a 4-7, you don't know what you're going to get. You roll a 66 in some games, you know exactly what you're going to get. You roll a 99 on the D10s in some game, you know exactly what you're going to get. But this you don't know. It's just you got to look at the card. And people have complained about the cards, but to me, I find them very serviceable. I don't need them to be strong as steel. I just need them to hold up through a game. Some people have said the cards stick together. I've never had that issue. To me, that's operator error. Lick your fingers or do whatever. Get better dexterity in your fingers. But I've never had a problem with the cards. And I played with the game a few days ago. The 2024 set I just bought. They were brand new right out of I just separated them. I mean, that day. So they were brand new. Didn't have a single card stick on me. They were fine. I had no problem with that. So, people want to say they stick together. That's fine if you want to say that, but I just don't. I think it's operator error myself. But that's just like I said, everything here is my opinion. So if you don't agree with me, that's fine too. I mean, it's wonderful. We need to have differing opinions and be able to respect each other's opinions without getting into. We don't need petty arguments or anything like that. Let's see. The only other item I had in my outline for the cards and dice under the good category is game flow. This game flows very, very well. You roll your dice, you look at your card, and you get your result. There's not a whole lot of hemming and hawing. I mean, I know there's some people that complain there's too many X checks, fielding checks or whatever. But to me, you got to have the fielding checks. That keeps the flow of the game going, and it incorporates the fielding, which is fielding. Pitching and defense is what wins you championships. So the other half of that is fielding. You got to have it, and the more fielding to me, the better. I enjoy the extra fielding checks because I want those fielders to to make a difference. I want to be penalized if I put a 4 outfielder in center field. I want to take that chance of putting that 4 in center field because it's a good hitter, but to take the chance that I might get penalized. Some games you could put a substandard fielder in the game and it doesn't matter. As long as he hits and mashes, that's all they care about. And you don't have to worry about anything else. But I want that. I want to be penalized just as well as I want to be rewarded in different areas. So that's what I have under the good for the cards and dice game. I have a couple of things for the computer, but I'm going to do that separately at the end. Right now we're sticking strictly to cards and dice. All right, let's go to the bad. It's the elephant in the room, and that is not all players are carded. Now, granted, with the 2024 set I just got, the majority of the cards are carded. But if you want to do a season replay as played, and ID Gesture always said if you don't play as played, heads explode. But if you want to do as played, you have to have all the cards. Now, obviously, guys with like 10 at-bats or 4 innings pitched or whatever are probably not going to have a card. Although, as you saw in my Cody Senga game from the other day, 2024, he pitched 1 game during the regular season, and he was carded for that 5 innings. I think somebody said they carded him because he pitched in the playoffs as well, and they wanted to have him available for the playoffs. But that's an anomaly. That doesn't happen very often. So I definitely understand, and I feel your pain about not having all the players carded. Now, and I'll use it. I love his channel. I wish he did more stuff, but Replay Gamer, I'll use another one of his phrases. And he said, if I were king. Okay, so if I were king of the Strat-O-Matic baseball world, what would I do to fix that? You're going to probably think it's something different what I'm going to say. I am not going to say the Strat-O-Matic should print every single card. I don't think that's worthwhile. I think it's a waste of money to print every card because not everybody's going to use that. But I do think that they could learn from a couple of other companies and print the majority of the cards in the player pack that they mail out, and then make other cards available for PDF for free. Strat, not charging you an arm and a leg. I think they should have a free PDF of all players that are not included in the original set or the extra players. I think they should be for free. Or let's put it this way: if you want to I'll make a compromise with you, Strat. How about this? If someone orders the base set and the extra players, they should be given a link to the PDF for the remainder of the players. If you just buy the standard player deck, then you don't get that because you obviously don't care about the extra players. Or you can do it at a fee or whatever. But if someone pays good money for the original 27 card deck or whatever comes in there and the extra players, then I feel like the rest of the players, the ones who are not carded in either of those sets, but are on the computer game, obviously, because they're rated, that should be on a PDF, and a link to that PDF should be given to that person once they order the player cards and the extra players. But no, I don't want Strat printing every single player that ever appeared. No Moonlight Grahams out there. We don't need that. So, but I do think if they had available for PDF for the extra players, even if you didn't want to print them out for yourself, you could play the game and have the PDF on the computer up in front of you. So when it came to that at bat, you'd have the results there. But if you want to print it out, fine. I do that. So I print out extra players off the computer game when I need them. It's a little bit of a pain, but if I want every single player, I do it. All right, so that's one way I think Strat could improve. They don't card everybody, but my solution is not card everybody, but offer the players that are not included in the base set and the extra players combined, the ones that are still missing, give a link to the PDF for those people who buy the other ones. Next up, limited season releases. I know Strat-O-Matic is probably going for some kind of collecting factor here, but to me, not having seasons that people want when they're available to use and print because they're on the computer, they're rated, they've been put out in the past. I think Strat needs to pick up the game on that. Now, what could they do? What could they do to do that? Well, they could use like a Kickstarter concept. They could maybe put out a poll. Hey, we got these 4 seasons. Which one would you prefer? And have a poll on it. And the one that wins, then say, okay, if we get X number of orders, we will send this off to the printer for these orders. And there you go. Have people prepay for the order. And then once all those orders, say you need 100 orders or whatever it's worthwhile to your cost. Say you want to get 100 sets out or 200, whatever the number. I don't know what the number is. Just pick a number. Pick a goal. And if you get enough people to do it, you send it off to the printer and you release the set and everybody's happy. If it comes out where only like 30 people, put in their money to get it advanced, say, sorry, we didn't get enough, so we can't do that. I think it's better than just randomly reprinting a season that, like they just did 1970, and I don't know many people that care about 1970. I know a lot of people care about 75, 79, 78. They would have been nice, but not 1970. The only thing I know about 1970 was the Reds and the Orioles played in the World Series. Other than that, I couldn't tell you anything about 1970. Why they chose that, I have no earthly idea. No earthly idea. But maybe take some feedback from the fans. Ask your customers what they would like. That would be a good thing to do. That would be my alternative to the limited seasons. Don't print out every season because you're going to go broke if you do that, most likely, because if they don't sell, then they're just sitting there on your shelf and you got wasted stock. So I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking Strat to, ask the fan base what they want, what seasons are important to them. And I guarantee you, a lot of people in our age range are going to want seasons like 75, 78, and 79 to help complete that 70s. We got 71, 72, 73. We don't have 74, 75, or 78, 79. I think it will be worthwhile to Strat to explore that. Not just pick something, but actually ask the people who purchase the game what they would like. All right, that's my so-called solution for the limited releases that they have. All right, the next thing that's bad, and this one here, I put it under bad because I don't think it's bad, but a lot of other people think it's bad. So I'm going to try to get around that by putting it in the bad category, but telling you why I think it's not bad. And that's 50-50, the 50-50 engine. 50-50, that's all I heard. Strat's 50-50 engine. We can't play Strat. It's 50-50 engine. It sucks. If I bring in a relief pitcher and it goes to the batter card, it's like I never had him in the game, and it's trash and all this other stuff. I look at the 50-50 from a real baseball perspective of who's in control of the at-bat. Is it the pitcher or is it the batter? In a real game, the pitcher has the ball to start, and they can control the bat if they can put the ball where they want to put it. Then they're in control of the bat, and the batter's kind of at the whim of the pitcher to try to fend off a good pitch and do something with it. But the pitcher is not always in control of the bat. Sometimes the pitcher throws it where they don't want to throw it. Maybe they don't have their stuff on that particular pitch. Maybe they're distracted by a base runner. Who knows? They don't put the ball where they want, and all of a sudden now it's the batter who's in control of the bat. They're going to dictate where that ball goes. If they're a good hitter, they're going to put it in play and get something good out of it. If they're a bad hitter, they're going to foul it off. They're going to pop it up. They may still strike out if they're that bad. Who knows? But to me, that's when I envision a 50-50, that's what I'm envisioning. I'm envisioning the pitcher-batter interaction. And to me, both the pitcher and the batter cannot be both in control of the bat at the same time. One of them is going to win. Either the pitcher's going to win or the batter's going to win. And so I know some people, like I said, they want to do the 50-50 or whatever. But to me, from a baseball perspective, either the pitcher has his stuff on that particular at bat and he throws the pitch he wants and is in control of that bat, or he misses his location. Him and the catcher get crossed up on signals, whatever the case may be. And it's all of a sudden, hey, the ball's in the hands of the batter and it's up to him. He's in control now. Another way to look at it, and I think I discussed this when I was talking to Replay Gamer, is don't look at it at 50-50. Look at it as a big 6x6 grid. 1, 2, 3 for the batter, 4, 5, 6 for the pitcher, and all the columns 2 through 12. It's all one big, huge grid, and it's an equal opportunity to hit any of those. But it's still weighted. You know, the sevens are still going to be good on both sides. So the 50-50 does not bother me in the least. The odds of me bringing in a relief pitcher and having the batter control all 3 at bats of the inning are very, very small. So you got to go by odds again. That's what dice are all about, odds. I mean, that's what dice are for. It's all about odds. And the odds say, yeah, you might have an outlier once in a while, but the odds say that you're going to get that give and take pitcher batter interaction in your games. So I don't let the 50-50 bother me. I don't even think about 50-50. I don't even think about it until somebody mentions it. And then when they mention it, I try to give it a positive spin to it, because I don't think it's a negative, but I put it in the bad because that's what everybody, or not everybody, but that's what a lot of people, when they have a complaint about Strat, it's 50-50. So that I do there. Another bad, and I didn't have this on my outline, but it's worth mentioning, I think, is, and let me open this up here and pull out the super advanced. So this is kind of on components here. This is the super advanced fielding chart. And you can see mine's already starting to rip in a couple of different places from overusage of having to flip it over all the time and check it, fold it, whatever. And it would be nice if Strat went back to this. I bought this a few years ago for $5. It is a card stock super advanced fielding chart, and there is no damage on these. This one is pretty good. If I'd laminated, it'd been even better, but I don't really do that. So, but this thing, you could stand it up like this. You could stand it up on against a back thing here, and you could look at it straight across and not even have to reference it. If you had to go to the other side for the outfielder, just flip it over, and it's right there. So to me, Strat should offer this again. I don't know why they stopped offering this. I think this would sell. I think people would like this, to be able to have this as a stock, because this right here is flimsy crap. Now, I like the game a lot, so I deal with the flimsy crap, but this is definitely flimsy crap. I can't put a positive spin on and say this is not flimsy crap, because this is flimsy crap. Let's look at it. There's a tear right here. It's a tear right, and these charts aren't that old. They're probably a year old. So split there. There's a split there. There's a split there. In fact, and there's a split up here. You see it where the R is on super advanced. See how that is right there? I got more splits on my super advanced chart than the cards have for lefty righty on the game itself. So yeah, definitely Strat needs to up that, I think, on their components, at least for the super advanced fielding chart. The other charts are already in card stock, so they're pretty decent. The only thing I would like to see is, if you buy a game, and I don't use the accoutrements that come with the game, but some people do, that has the Wrigley Field thing there, you know, with the outs and all that stuff. They used to sell, because I've seen people with them, different stadium backgrounds. Give us some options here. If we want to say, hey, we want to order the Strat-O-Matic Yankee Stadium version, what comes with the Yankee Stadium thing, or we want to buy Dodger Stadium, or pick your favorite major league stadium. I think it would be nice if Strat offered that. Instead of mass producing just Wrigley Field, do some other teams. Maybe make it a limited edition, charge an extra $1 for it, or whatever. Can't cost that much to put a photo on there, but that would be nice for them to do that. And I think it would be, I'd be more apt to buy the whole game parts instead of just the season cards if they offered something like that. So that would be nice for them to do. All right, last but not least, and we go back to the fielding chart for this, is This section right here. RP. What I call the not so rare plays. They're rare plays like it hits the mound and bounces to the fielder. What the hell is that? There's nothing rare about that. They need to up the game on rare plays. These rare plays, I believe, have been the same since they went to Super Advanced back in the 80s. They have not been updated as far as I know. Time to update the rare plays. Other companies have done so. I'm not going to mention the other companies because I said I wouldn't mention the other companies, but if you play the game, you know who I'm talking about. But my solution to rare plays is make the rare plays based on running situations and outs. It may require a rare play book, but hey, I'd pay extra money for a good rare play book. I'd pay $10 for a nice rare play book. They could include, it would just, all you need to do is buy it one time. You don't have to buy it all the time. Just give me one good rare play book. And like I said, I'd pay about $10 for it if I had to. I think you can make a decent rare play book that doesn't cost that much money to make. Maybe $15, whatever the cost is on doing a rare play booklet, little spiral bound thing or whatever. And then it breaks down base running situation and outs. So there's a rare play for runners on first and second with nobody out, where you could possibly get a triple play. Well, if the rare play situation comes up and there's 2 outs and a runner on third, you can't get that, obviously, but you could do something else. There could be a rare play with, catcher interference or something, anything that relates to runner on third and 2 outs, whatever that may be. You can study the baseball play-by-plays and see what kind of strange things occur with different base running situations, but I would do that. I would give a separate chart based on running situation, base runner situations, and how many outs there are. There's some things that can happen with 2 outs that can't happen, or things that can happen with 0 outs that can't happen with 2 outs. That would be my solution. But anything would be better than what they have here. Every time I roll a 5, I cringe because I just like, what are they going to do to me now? What are they going to give me that's stupid? Batter lines a shot that hits the mound and deflects to the fielder and makes the play to first for the out. Whoop-de-doo. That was exciting. No, we want something that's going to be like, wow, what are they going to tell us now? Well, we need that. We need a book. Somebody at Strat-O-Matic, they got smart people. I think they got this. Well, I better not say that, but I think they have some of the smartest baseball sim minds at Strat-O-Matic. Somebody can come around and make a rare play chart based on base running situations and see what, and the die rolls. And there you go. Now, is there a better way to engage the rare play than the 5 on the fielding chart? Possibly. But, I don't have any problem with that because 5s don't come that often. Rare plays should be rare. There shouldn't be something that happens 3 times a game. It should be rare. You should be able to go through a couple games with no rare plays and then maybe get 2 rare plays in one game, just depending on how the rolls go. But I'm looking for rare plays that are situationally based on number of base runners and number of outs. Give me that, put it in a booklet. I'll pay for it so that I can have it's a one-time purchase. Give it to me. It doesn't have to be like super duper sturdy in a binder or whatever, but just give me something that I can use. I mean, it shouldn't be, it's not rocket science. You should be able to do these things. This is 2025. We're not in the Cold War era anymore. You should be able to do these things. So that's what I would do for the rare plays. All right. That was my take on the bad stuff. Now we get to the ugly stuff. And I only have one ugly on the card and dice because I haven't done the computer yet. I'm getting to that. In case you're wondering about computer, I'm getting to that. But I don't have as much experience on computer as I do on the cards and dice. But the ugly is the ungodly shipping cost to ship Strat-O-Matic. I know it does not cost them what they're charging to ship. Other companies ship much heavier items much cheaper. So they've got to find a solution because, quite honestly, shipping costs have prevented me from making some orders. I would like to order something. Like, I'm not going to order something for $30 and then have to pay $20 to ship it. I'm not going to do that. Now, when they made the free shipping deal last week, that's when I bought my 3 items. I figured I'd stock up because I don't have to pay shipping 3 or 4 times. But to me, the shipping should be reasonable. Now, I will give them a slight kudos on my order because I placed it Thursday afternoon and I got it Sunday morning. So that was pretty quick. That was the free shipping. That was, I guess it was FedEx or whatever. But yeah, they got to do something with the shipping to be a little more reasonable. At least they did away with the $2 processing fee that they used to have, years ago, that we kind of mocked at, where they had a $2 processing fee to do whatever. So as far as I can tell, that has been taken away. But yeah, you got to do something with the ungodly shipping costs. Now, maybe their philosophy is we do that so that people will make mass orders and we can make more money because they'll buy more stuff at one time. If that's their model, whatever, I can't control that. But that's, to me, is the only ugly to Strat-O-Matic is the ungodly shipping cost. That's the only ungodly thing with them. So when I buy Strat-O-Matic now, I only buy it when there's a significant break on the shipping. Significant break on the shipping. It's the only way I do it. All right, so that covers the good, bad, and the ugly of the card and dice game. Now we'll go to the computer game. And I know people have been talking about the computer game, how it's ancient, it's antiquated, it's in the DOS world of the 1990s. Pick your favorite, dig at it. It's been like the whipping boy of everything because based on other companies, how they've updated their things compared to Strat-O-Matic, it's been documented many, many times. Now, my counter to that is that Strat-O-Matic computer is not there to be MLB The Show. It's not there to make the bells and the whistles. It's there to do certain features that people need to help with their replays. And yeah, it'd be nice to have the other stuff, but I don't think the Strat-O-Matic community is, in large as a whole, it wants to pay extra to have these extra things there. And maybe they don't need to be extra. Maybe they should just do it beginning. I won't argue that one iota. But I will give you 2 positives that I have on the Strat-O-Matic computer. One is season file choices. When you do buy a season, they give you an option. You can either download the as played or you can download the as carded. So you can have that as your assistant to whatever replay you want to do. So if you want to do as carded and not worry about as played, then you don't have to download the as played lineups and then have to worry about missing players or having the lineups pre-filled for you. If you want to do the lineups yourself or have the computer generate them for you, you can do that based on the as played or the as carded. They also give you a separate file for the World Series. So if you just want to do the World Series for that season, it's already pre-set up for you. You don't have to go through manually and try to put it together. It's already done for you. The other positive I have for the Strat computer is they have a very, very meticulously detailed computer manager. You can go in there, if you want to take the time to do it, you can go in there and set up your pitching rotations, your player usage for relief pitchers, which relief pitchers coming against lefties, which one coming against righties, which one pitch in blowouts, what pinch hitters to use when it's close, what pinch hitter to use when it's a blowout. You could do all there. It's, I won't say limitless because there's limits on everything, but it's probably more detailed than you would want to get into, or probably what I've ever gotten into. So it's definitely held up for me. Even when I'm doing this 87 replay I'm doing, I really didn't go into the Strat computer. Well, because I'm not simming anything. I'm playing all the games. But if I wanted to play one team and sim the rest, you can make a very detailed computer manager so that when the game sims, it's not just simming haphazardly. There's rhyme or reason to it, and the Strat computer will follow your model. So very, very detailed in how they set up their Strat-O-Matic computer manager. There's so many details you can do with it. It's just really, really great. Now, you'll be surprised to know I don't have anything bad to say about the Strat computer game, I should say. I don't have anything under my bad category. I do have something under my ugly category, but not bad. And here's the ugly. And again, it's not based on the computer game itself. It's how it's marketed and how it's sold. I think it's ridiculous that you have to buy the computer game every frickin' year just to get the new season. If I wanted to go on the Strat computer right now and buy the 24 season that was just completed last year, I can't buy that as a separate file and add it to the computer game I bought in 2023. I can't do that. I don't have that option. I have to go out and buy the whole new game, even though nothing's really changed in the new game. It's pretty much the same game. They may tweak 2 or 3 minor things that I don't even notice, but they make you buy the new game. That is ridiculous. That's why I don't buy the game every year. I usually buy it maybe every other year. And that's only if I'm really interested in the new season, which I'm usually not. But it's not only the new season. If they come up with an updated season, like the 1970 season they just came up with, well, guess what? You can't just buy the 1970 season and use it with your old computer game. You got to buy the new computer game because they've coded it somehow where you have to buy the new game. Now, I'm guessing they're doing that because if they didn't do it that way, they probably wouldn't sell enough computer games and they probably lose the market on that or something. I don't know what the model is on that, but no other game company I know of does that. The ones that offer computers, you can just buy whatever season you want and use it for your computer. You buy the game one time and you're done. And then when the new season comes out, you just buy the season and you install it and you're all ready to go. So why do I want to buy something that I've got already a copy of and buy it again? It just doesn't make any sense. The only way I can do that to even seem to be reasonable is to do the package deal they offer where you order the cards, the extra players, and the computer game all at one price. They give you a slight cut on that with the computer imaging. You got to buy the computer imaging every year too. That's another thing. Something that ought to come with the game naturally. You got to buy it. When you buy the computer game, the imaging should already be there. You shouldn't have to pay for it. Other games, their imaging is already on the cards. I don't have to pay for it. So to me, it's just another way of, it's a money grab to me. And like I said, I know they got to stay in business and make a profit, but to me, they need to not make you have to buy this stupid game every single year on the computer just to get the newest season. That's, to me, is not kosher. And that's what's keeping me. That's why I bought the cards, but I didn't get the computer game this year because I didn't want to pay for it. I've already got the computer. I bought the computer game last year. It's working fine for me. I'm using it for my 87 replay. I don't want to take a chance that if I order the new season and I download the new computer game and I download it somehow, and I know you're supposed to back up the files. I don't want to go through all that work. I don't want to take a chance of losing the stuff I've already got. So I'm not touching the Strat-O-Matic computer until maybe next year. Maybe not even then. Maybe 2026 if I feel like it, or depending on if they do any kind of upgrades to it. So for the Strat computer, I like the detailed computer manager. I like that they gave you season files with 2 choices, the as played or as carded. But this thing about having to buy the new computer game every year just to play the newest releases, I'm not cool with that. So that's definitely on my ugly side. So there you have. And if you want to see my little outline I was going by, here it is. That's what I just wrote down myself, just to give a recap. The good, bad, and the ugly It's a 942 is the score there, 942. So 9 things are good, 4 things are bad, and 2 things are ugly. So I would say, given all of that, it's still the game I go to. I mean, it's a game I'm currently playing, and it's a game I've given priority to. I will play other games once in a while just to be different, but this is my desert island game right here. It's sort of like the if you had a brother that is a jerk and is mean and has no redeeming qualities, he's still your brother, so you're going to defend him. Well, I got to defend Strat. I mean, I know they have these things that I just talked about. I can be critical, but it's constructive criticism. It's not a rant. It's constructive criticism. So people were giving these games scores out of 100. I'm going to give them score out of 1,000. So out of 1,000, I will score Strat-O-Matic a 942, which relates basically to a 94 out of 100. Because I think Strat's that good, despite their slight, things that could be better. I'll give it a 94 out of 100 or 942 out of 1,000, as the score sheet says here on my little outline. So that's it. You heard it from me here. If you wanted to know what my opinion of Strat was, the good, bad, and the ugly, you just saw it. Feel free to leave any comments you like. I'm not going to get into argument with anybody. I'm not here to argue with anybody. If you strongly disagree with something I said, that's fine. We can have our differences and still be friends. And if you think I'm too critical in certain areas, that's fine too. We can still be friends. If you want to play every game under the sun other than Strat, that's fine too. We can still be friends. But I just felt like, since I play Strat-O-Matic so much, that I wanted to get this out there so that people knew, who watch my channel, you know where I'm coming from, and you know what I think of the game itself as a whole. So I'm at the 47-minute mark. I think I've rambled probably 27 minutes too long, but that's what happens sometimes. I get carried away with this and start blabbering, and that's what can happen. But maybe some of the best thoughts or some of the most authentic reactions come out of blabbering. I don't know. It's not ranting, it's blabbering a little bit. So, and there's probably things on here that I didn't cover that maybe you think should have been covered. And if there's certain topics within this that you think I missed that I should have included under any of the categories, put it in the comments and I'll make a comment on it. But these are the things that came up to me. I thought about this thing for about a week, and I was just, every time I thought of something new, I'd write it down. Now, I didn't put the game components on here. That was just something that came with a whim while I was sitting here. So there you go. But that's it. That's my Strat-O-Matic take. Despite all what little or what perceived shortcomings I gave them, to me, the good far outweighs the bad and the ugly, which is why it is my go-to game. It is my authentic game. If I want to play a baseball sim and feel like I have a realistic baseball sim experience, this is it right here. I didn't say it was the most fun game. I said it's the most realistic game. And it's the one game where I can feel like I'm really the manager of the team and I have all the options that a regular manager has. And it gives me the opportunity to simulate being a major league manager more so than any other game out there. If you like other games, that's fine. I like other games too, but this is my number one for all the reasons I listed. And again, the nostalgia factor can't be underestimated. That is a major factor, is the nostalgia factor. There's just something about Strat-O-Matic. I don't know what it is, but just something about Strat-O-Matic that, even though they may be in some ways archaic, they're still, like that song says by Orleans, they're still the one that can scratch my itch. They're still the one, and I wouldn't switch. So that's going to do it from here. Like I said, hope you enjoyed that take. Not necessarily that you agreed with it, but at least I hope you enjoyed the take. and you feel free to comment. And if you want me to do a follow-up video on after some comments are made, I'll be happy to do that. But this is me. It's what I like. So can't help it. Just have to say what I say. So at the 15-minute mark now, that's way too long. So we're going to cut this off. I wanted to do this as a recording because I did not want to get distracted by live comments. So that's why I purposely did this as a recording. Like I said, leave your comments and I will be happy to respond to them, good, bad, or indifferent. The only thing I won't do is I won't get into an argument with anybody. I'm not going to go back and forth in an argument and a rant or whatever. If you want to give constructive criticism on what I just done, that's welcoming. I'll be glad to hear it. Something I could have done differently, or something I left out, or something I mentioned that wasn't worth mentioning. I mean, just take your favorite pick. But that's going to do it from here. Till next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, whether it's Strat-O-Matic or something else, the way you want to play it. And as usual, I will see you all down the road.